Sandhan. All Gujarat Integrated Classroom.
સેટેલાઇટના માધ્યમથી જોડતી કડી એટલે સંધાન.
Friends, myself, Principal Dr. Bhaskar Shukla. I am from Yuvraj Subhag Singh Ji Arts and Commerce College, Devgarh Baria. Today, I will deliver my lecture on T.S. Eliot's Giron's Son. As you know that Eliot is one of the greatest personalities in the modern English poetry. When we think about modernism, when we think about modernism in poetry, we have to think T.S. Eliot, Ezra Pound, Ted Hughes, W.H. Auden, and some other poets. But Eliot is supreme among the modern poets, or as far as the term modernism concept that comes in that way. Before I start my lecture, I would like to demonstrate my books. My first book is, it is on Islam and feminism. We know that we have many different concepts of feminism, especially in Islam. So this book gives detail about feminism in Islam. Then my one more book on feminism and female writers. In this book, I have collected my critical writings on some Indian writers, especially female writers on feminism. Now, my one more book on post-colonial literature. This is a critical study on post-colonial literature. We know that colonial period starts, post-colonial and colonial period. So, post-colonial period starts after 1950. So, whatever literature was written after 1950, that was in the post-colonial period. So, this book gives details about post-colonial period and literature on that part. Now, I have one more book on Indian English literature. In this book, I have given the details about Indian writers in English after independence. Many Indian writers who are ignored in the global world, I have given details about them in this book. So this book also gives details about Indian writing. Then my one more book on modernism and post-modernism. You know, we have to understand this concept, what is modernism, and after that, what is post-modernism, because both the terms are very important in the modern context. We have to understand that context completely. So, let us think about what is modernism and post-modernism in the context of poetry. When we think about modern poetry, we have to think about T.S. Eliot. As first, let us divide this lecture into three parts. First part is the beginning of the career of T.S. Eliot as a poet. So let us think about his childhood period, what Eliot has done as a child. So Eliot was born in 1888 in USA at the late age of his parents. When he was born, his parents were crossing the age of 43-44 years. So he was born at a very late age. Eliot among with 6 children. He has one brother and 4 sisters. So Eliot was in a big family. Then Eliot has got one problem at the age of 7, 6, or 9 somewhere. He got hernia at a very small age. So physical problem occurs at a very small age in the life of T.S. Eliot. So Eliot being affected by hernia, so that physical problem make him a little bit aloof. In Bacon's word, we can say aloof, uncanny, unpossessed in somewhat in that way. So Eliot was keeping himself away from other boys at school time. So that particular problem of hernia made Eliot to keep away from his friends. And now he became devoted to literature, especially reading. He was at the age of 14, he wrote his first poem. He translated the Rubaiyat of Umar Khayyam. He wrote some few lines on the translation of Rubaiyat of Umar Khayyam. Friends, it is very interesting to see that Eliot's mother also wrote poetry. She was also interested in poetry. So poetry or interest in literature, that was in the hierarchy or in the family of Eliot. So physical problem made Eliot a little bit away from schoolboys, school children, and that school atmosphere. So he started reading at the school age. He read Greek, Latin, French, German. Even he was interested in Indian philosophy. He was interested in Sanskrit. So Eliot knew many languages in his adolescent period, childhood period also. Then after school days, Eliot went to college, Harvard College, USA. He completed his BA with philosophy in Harvard College, and then he did his MA in English literature in the same university. So Eliot had a schooling career and then college career. He devoted his study to philosophy and literature. Eliot then went for further study or for further moving for literature, some exploration to European countries. He went Paris. He visited some European countries for getting some better knowledge or some new exploration, some new ideas. So when Eliot completed his study, his postgraduate study in Harvard University, after that he pursued for his PhD, his doctorate thesis in that same university. His topic in PhD was on philosophy. So he was very much interested in philosophy. So after that, when Eliot went Paris, French, he met some French friends, and now we will talk about the major influences on Eliot's career. Friends, we have to understand the difference between the Romantic period of Wordsworth, Byron, Shelley, and Keats, and that critical perfectionist period, or that classical period of Alexander Pope or John Dryden, and that Elizabethan period of Shakespeare. So Eliot had influence of many other writers, but this age in which Eliot was living was very much different from that writers. So now let us think about that before Eliot's accession for Paris, what happened? We know that it was the time of First World War. So First World War, I think that period was 1914 to 1919, and two country, Germany, Germany and Britain, allied countries of Germany on one side, and allied countries of Britain on other side. So it was World War period, and many problems and many deaths and lot of blood, and that period of depression and no hope, nothinglessness. Friends, we have to remember Nietzsche and some other writers who believe in nothinglessness. Then God is dead. No, there is no meaning of life. Meaninglessness of life. That is the issue on that time when the World War was going on that time. Now, the major influence on Eliot were two persons. First is Ezra Pound. We know that Ezra Pound has a very controversial career. Ezra Pound and Wyndham Davis. These are the two writers. Actually, they three are the friends, because Wyndham Davis, Ezra Pound, and T.S. Eliot. Eliot born in 1988. Ezra Pound in 1885. Eliot in 1888. Ezra Pound in 1885, and Davis in 1882. So they are very much nearby in the birth, hence they have equal time, same time of writing. Ezra Pound was a thorough gentleman and perhaps the mentor of Eliot's career. We know that Eliot's The Waste Land, Eliot's The Love Song of J. Prufrock, Eliot's and other works, all works he devoted, most of the works he devoted to Ezra Pound. The Waste Land poem of Eliot he devoted in this way, devoted to E.P. from T.S. or so T.S.E. means T.S. Eliot, and it is devoted to Ezra Pound, E.P. So, to understand Eliot, we have to understand Ezra Pound. How Pound was responsible in making T.S. Eliot's career. Now, what is the theme of the poem The Waste Land? Because the Waste Land poem itself suggests that nothing remained in the life of Eliot. Was talking about his life, because we have to think about Eliot's married life. After some years, Eliot married Vivian, one lady, Vivian. So that marriage also took place on that time when Pound and Eliot were in contact. And the couple, Eliot and Vivian, they lived in the flat of Bertrand Russell. Friends, I think you know Bertrand Russell. Russell was a very great writer. And they lived together, they lived in the flat of Bertrand Russell. And it was said that Russell had a soft corner for Eliot's wife. But no information about their relation, Vivian and Russell's relation, is no information about their relation. And it is not confirmed that they have some relation. So now, after some years, Vivian wrote to Ezra Pound that she had this problem, that problem, diabetes, blood pressure, high blood pressure, and many other problems are there with Eliot's wife. So Eliot's married life was not going smoothly. Eliot was very much disturbed by his married life. So he was keeping away from his wife, and his wife was sent to her brother's house because she had many problems. So in the Wasteland, or in some other poem, Eliot wrote that Eliot's wife said that this marriage gave no happiness to her, or no pleasure of this marriage. And in the word of Eliot, Eliot said that this marriage gave